Endurance. Performance. The winner's mark. Endurance. Performance. The mark of the Mercury Comet. Proven at Daytona. Acclaimed in the marketplace. Sale and resale. Now, Lincoln Mercury Division presents your Mercury Comet 465. Features and benefits. Greater than ever. Greater performance. Greater endurance. More Comet per Comet. More punch. More runaway power. Better handling. Better ride. More comfort. The features prove it. The benefits approve it. What's the news? Big new engine and transmission program. Big news in the 8. Goodbye 260 V8. A new optional Cyclone 289 with 2 barrels designed for regular fuel takes its place. Horsepower up from 164 to 200, a jump of 36 horses. And remember, 289 is the Daytona displacement, the engine design that had everybody wide-eyed with its great display of performance and endurance. Let's compare it to 64. From a standing start after 10 seconds, the Cyclone 289 with 2-barrel carburetor 42 feet ahead of the 64 260 cubic inch engine. Same 3-speed transmissions. Another dash of pepper is the redesigned 225 horsepower Cyclone Super 289 V8 with 4-barrel carburetor for premium fuel against the 64 260 at 10 seconds, 60 feet ahead. That's traveling. A new high-pressure carburetor accelerator pump stops hot fuel problems and greatly improves performance. Big news in the 6. Hello to a new 200 cubic incher. Goodbye 170. The new Comet 206 moves in with more horsepower, up from 101 to 120 for standard and automatic transmissions both. A power plant story that rates the headlines. Comet scores a major advance in 6-cylinder engine design. In the past, 4 main bearings to support the crankshaft. This year, the 4 become 7, 3 more than last year. 7 hands holding the crankshaft more firmly positioned for smooth, more rigid, straight-line turning. Firmly controlled power for whisper-quiet operation, revved up or idling. Deep breathing helps engines, too. New, larger valves with higher lift make for easier engine breathing, more get up and go, more efficiency. You feel it in the car's no-strain surge of power. Piston design has been greatly improved. Top piston rings are moly-filled. Moly is short for molybdenum, a relatively porous metal that retains oil. Seals more effectively, but with less pressure against cylinder walls, less friction, less wear, less blow-by for more miles. Engines more likely to live to a ripe old age. Big improvement in automatic choke. The temperature-sensitive mechanism is now controlled by engine water heat as well as exhaust air. Hot water stays hotter longer and prevents unnecessary choking, improves fuel economy, and reduces possibility of flooding. Another big hello. Hello to the improved 3-speed multi-drive Mercury. Goodbye to the 2-speed automatic transmission. Now, driving flexibility for 6s as well as 8s. D1 gives the economy and performance of 3 gears forward. Power and pickup as never before. Steady and ready for right now acceleration. Need gentle power? Then use D2. Starts the car in 2nd gear. A more easy-does-it transfer of power to the wheels. Wheels less likely to spin. Better fuel economy by a mile per gallon over last year's 6 with the 2-speed. The reasons? Less engine wind-up when accelerating, for one thing, and a lower rear axle ratio which requires fewer engine revolutions per mile, the equivalent of over 1,100 miles for every 10,000 miles driven. This saves in engine wear, too. Better acceleration. You'll find it in passing. You'll find it on hills. How many transmission choices for 65? For those who like to leave the driving to us, the optional 3-speed multi-drive Mercury for both 6s and 8s. And, of course, for the do-it-yourselfers, the standard 3-speed manual for cars with the standard Comet 206 engine, and for cars equipped with the optional Cyclone 289 and Cyclone Super 289 V8s, a fully synchronized 3-speed manual is standard. For those who like more wind in their faces, the optional fully synchronized 4-speed manual for both the Cyclone 289 and Cyclone Super 289 V8s. 4 on the floor. So somebody says, okay, what else you got? Plenty. Plush, big car ride. And no wonder. Lower rate front springs. Lower rate means more cushion. And that's in addition to Comet's soft, extra wide, 4-leaf rear springs. A quieter ride, too, comes from Comet's famous ISO clamps. And they come from Lincoln Continental. Best come from recommendation on the road. They absorb shock the way a blotter absorbs ink. They soak it up. So do the torque boxes of Comet's unit-built construction. Torque boxes are at each corner of the passenger compartment. Body side rails and rear underbody rails are welded directly to the torque boxes, as is the floor panel. Counteract noise and vibration. Strong and durable. And thanks to the new shock-resistant butyl rubber bumpers in the front suspension, if you bottom with less jolt. Power steering is more responsive than ever in 65. Overall steering ratio is now 21.6 to 1 instead of 27.1 to 1, an improvement of over 20%. That means it takes fewer turns of this wheel to turn these wheels. For example, from full left to full right used to take over 4 1/2 turns up here. Now only 3 3/4. Optional all models. Another Mercury Comet feature for 65, low-profile 695 by 14-inch tires, standard for all models, with 735 by 14 tires optional on V8s. Also, white sidewall tires are optional for all models. Low profile means more rubber on the road, bigger footprint, longer tread life, less high-speed heat buildup. Under the hood, a high-capacity 38-ampere alternator instead of a generator keeps charging even at idling speeds, which the generator didn't. In addition, 27% greater maximum charging ability. In the battery, twice as much electrolyte reserve. Add water only half as often. Less chance of evaporation damage to plates. All new one-piece hard rubber case. A big safety feature, circuit breakers instead of fuses now protect against light failure in case of shorts in stoplights, tail lamps, and parking, as well as headlights. Circuit breakers automatically restore the circuit to use as soon as a short is corrected. Also, permits intermittent light while shorted. For other circuits, a new fuse block on the cowl side panel near the parking brake handle. All fuses are now in one spot for easier troubleshooting and replacement. More positive lighting of the stoplights, too. Press the pedal. Presto, the light is on right now, thanks to a new mechanical switch. No longer requires hydraulic pressure. More reliable. Still another safety and convenience factor is Comet's self-adjusting brakes. Brakes adjust themselves automatically when applied while backing up. Don't forget Comet's big operational advantages. The 6,000-mile oil and filter change. 6,000 travel miles without the nuisance and expense of draining and refilling. Plus the big convenience of 36,000 miles and one major chassis lubrication. Better protection than with the earlier, more frequent lube intervals. Inside the car, round speedometer, handy to the quickest glance. A newly styled instrument panel, functional and contemporary. Gauges are grouped in 4 large, easy-to-read pods. Say, quiet please, and you'll get it. In the 202 and 404, basic insulation. And additional insulation for the Caliente as well as the Cyclone. Real luxury car quiet. Extra insulation of sound-critical spots, hood, cowl, top and sides, roof, and even sedan rear roof pillars. Rear floor, under the rear seat, behind the rear seat, package tray, the wheel houses and trunk floor. Plush with hush. Options are another big plus for Comet. Good, practical options, like the brand new interval selector windshield wipers with washers that let you pre-select the number of wipe cycles per minute. Constant action for stormy weather, or at intervals of from 2 to more than 10 seconds for light mist. A cycle for every weather condition. There's after-dark safety in the new emergency flasher system that flashes all 4 turn signals at once for extra protection during side-of-the-road emergency stops. tells oncoming motorists immediately, that car isn't turning, it's stopped. There's safety in the new optional backup lights, beautifully integrated with the tail lamps, visible from the side as well as the rear. And while we're turning all those lights on, let's not forget the courtesy light group that illuminates the glove compartment, ashtray, and trunk. For all V8 Comets, a power booster fan that windmills by means of a thermostatically controlled clutch that lets it coast when it's not needed for cooling, as when starting up with a cold engine, or cruising breezily along the highway. Lets the engine keep that fan-turning power. A special handling package is available on the Cyclone for the hot performance buff. A larger, stiffer front sway bar and high-rate, stiffer springs, front and rear. Specially calibrated shock absorbers to complement the springs for a firmer ride, for more level cornering at speedier speeds, and manual steering with a 16-to-1 gear ratio for quicker turning and a more solid feel of the wheel. Some like it that way, and Cyclone has it. Another option for the high-performance enthusiast, a rally pack that includes the pod-mounted tachometer, standard on the Cyclone, which reports engine revolutions per minute. Tells the driver best times to shift for maximum acceleration. The rally pack also includes an elapsed time clock to record elapsed time on individual trips or rallies, and a vacuum gauge that indicates engine efficiency, immediately alerts driver to off-par operation. On all Mercury Comets, the tachometer and elapsed time clock are factory-installed options, singly or in combination. One exception, on the Cyclone, the tach is standard. Optional for all 6s and 8s, a power transfer rear axle keeps both wheels turning under all slippery conditions. Power for the wheel that needs it most. All wheels are go. Why does a chicken cross the road? To test Comet's optional power brakes, of course. What confidence. Listen. Everybody loves the reception of the optional radios, AM or AM-FM. And look how easy it is to find what you want on the AM-FM radio with the new slide bar band indicator. For all but the convertible, plain or Studiosonic type rear speakers. The Studiosonic speaker with built-in fraction of a second sound delay approaches the fine tonal effect of stereophonic reception. That's it. The Mercury Comet for 65, with features and benefits to make it a standout in the compact field. Greater than ever performance with big new engine and transmission program. New Cyclone 289 V8 engine. Horsepower up from 164 to 200. Super 289, horsepower up 210 to 225. New Comet 200 cubic inch 6 with 7 main bearings instead of 4. Horsepower now 120. 3-speed multi-drive Mercomatic transmission for 8s and 6s. Power and pickup as never before. Plush big car ride with lower rate, more cushion front springs. Plus Comet's famous ISO clamps and torque box construction. More responsive power steering with new 21.6-to-1 ratio. More rubber on the road. More tread life with low-profile tires. Better ignition, alternator instead of generator. More safety and convenience with circuit breakers. Mechanical stoplight switch, self-adjusting brakes. And a great array of options. Even though Comet has always been the luxury leader among compacts, Comet has come a long way since it was first introduced in 1960. Today's Mercury Comet offers more to the consumer than many full-sized cars of a few years ago. More ruggedness, more convenience and luxury, better styling, greater performance. 1965 Mercury Comet, newest edition of the world's 100,000-mile durability champion. More durable, more beautiful than ever in 65.